Welcome and thank you for joining me. My name is April Taylor and I'm a consultant for the Maine Child and Adult Care Food Program, or CACFP for short. The CACFP is a nutrition program that provides supplemental funding to childcare providers for serving more nutritious food to those in their care. Today I'm going to talk about the CACFP program as it relates to Farm to ECE. So I'll be covering some of the common goals between the two programs and some of the allowable Farm to ECE activities that can be done with CACFP funding. As you may already know or are learning as part of this wonderful Farm to ECE pilot program, the term Farm to ECE incorporates a lot of different activities that connect kids to the foods they eat, how that food is grown, and how to make healthy food choices. These activities include things like serving local foods as part of your childcare menus, hands-on activities like starting a garden that kids help plant and tend, or hands-on cooking activities, visiting local farms or having a farmer visit your program, and nutrition education. When you incorporate hands-on educational Farm to ECE activities in your childcare programs, you encourage young kids, their families, and you even encourage staff to enjoy eating fresh, healthy foods and make healthy life choices. By engaging in Farm to ECE activities, you also improve access to healthy food at home and in the community by building relationships with local farms and food partners. When it comes to serving local foods, you get to decide what local means to you. Your definition of local will likely depend on where you live and how much access you have to different local food producers and food vendors. Depending on where you live, you may choose to define local as food that's grown, raised, or caught in your county, or you may choose to define local as foods that are grown, raised, or caught in the Northeast region of the United States. It really is up to you. For those of you who are not familiar with the program, the Child and Adult Care Food Program, or CACFP for short, is a federally funded nutrition program whose goal is to improve the health and nutrition of program participants while promoting the development of good eating habits through nutrition education. A lot of different types of childcare programs can participate in CACFP, including home daycares, different types of childcare centers, and after-school programs. When you participate in CACFP, you receive reimbursement money for healthy meals and snacks that you serve that meet specific meal pattern rules. CACFP meal pattern rules promote eating a variety of low-sugar, whole-grain rich foods, lean sources of protein, and lots of fruits and vegetables. Farm to ECE activities are a perfect fit with the Child and Adult Care Food Program because both programs share the common goals of increasing access to nutritious foods and promoting lifelong healthy eating. The obvious reason that most folks participate in the CACFP is for the financial assistance that they receive for serving more nutritious foods to those in their care. Programs operating the CACFP receive monthly reimbursement for the meals and snacks they serve to their participants during the month that meet those specific nutrition guidelines. This is an estimate of the amount of reimbursement a daycare home provider would receive for a month of operating the CACFP if they cared for 10 kids, were open 20 days in the month, and served breakfast, lunch, and a snack to each child in their care. This estimate is a little high because I did calculate the figures assuming that every child would be present for every meal and snack. The rate of reimbursement that you receive as a daycare home provider varies and is determined based upon a few different criteria. It can be based on the economic status of the area you live in, the household income that your families receive, or your personal household income. The estimates shown here are for both the higher rate of reimbursement as well as the lower rate of reimbursement to give you a better idea of the range of reimbursement that a provider could possibly receive. These are a couple of real-life examples from center programs that are currently operating the CACFP in Maine. On the screen, you see the amount of reimbursement that each center received for operating the CACFP for 1 month. Most center programs are reimbursed based upon the reimbursement rate that each family qualifies for. There's a free rate, a reduced rate, and a paid rate. Example 1 shows the amount of reimbursement that was received by a for-profit childcare center that operated 19 days in the month and served 49 kids breakfast, lunch, and a snack each day. At-risk after-school programs are reimbursed at the free rate of reimbursement for all participants. Typically, at-risk after-school programs are open to all kids age 18 or under and provide daily educational and/or enrichment activities. Example 2 shows the amount of reimbursement that was received by a nonprofit at-risk after-school program that operated 28 days in the month and served a supper meal to 52 kids during the month. Although the amount of CACFP reimbursement that folks receive is only supplemental, it can definitely help with your food program budget. Of course, there are responsibilities that come with participating in the CACFP and receiving federal money. The main responsibilities that come with operating the CACFP include following the CACFP meal pattern rules for the age groups you're serving and keeping program documentation. If you contract directly with us at the state to participate in the CACFP, you will have significantly more responsibilities than if you participate in the CACFP under what we call a program sponsor. CACFP program sponsors assume many of the CACFP responsibilities for daycare home providers and centers that they have under their sponsorship. As I mentioned, CACFP serves a wide range of childcare programs. If you're a daycare home provider that is either licensed or qualifies through DHHS as a legal unlicensed provider, you care for 12 or fewer kids, and your daycare home is located in a residence, then you can participate in the CACFP under a daycare home sponsor. We currently have 11 daycare home sponsors around the state. When you participate in CACFP under a sponsor, the sponsor takes responsibility for a lot of program requirements, so you have significantly fewer responsibilities than you would if you participated in the CACFP as an independent program. Daycare home providers can get reimbursed for up to 2 meals and 1 snack per child per day. Small facilities may operate the CACFP in one of 2 ways, depending on the nature of the facility. To operate CACFP in your small facility under a sponsor, you need to be licensed as a small facility through DHHS. You need to care for 12 or fewer kids, and the location of your small facility must be residential in nature. We define residential as meaning that your small facility has a bathtub or a shower. Small facilities usually prefer to participate in CACFP under a sponsor because then the sponsor assumes the majority of the responsibilities for running the program. Small facilities do also have the option to participate in the CACFP independently. To contract directly with us at the state to run the CACFP independently, your small facility must be licensed through DHHS, you must care for 12 or fewer kids, and you don't need a bathtub or shower. However, if your small facility happens to be located at a church or school, then it would need to be licensed as a childcare center rather than as a small facility. Do remember that if you contract directly with us at the state to operate the CACFP, you will have significantly more program responsibilities. Small facilities can get reimbursed for up to 2 meals and 1 snack per child per day. A lot of different types of childcare centers may operate the CACFP. Centers care for 13 or more kids, and they can be either for-profit or nonprofit. The majority of center programs must be licensed through DHHS, but there are a few exceptions. Nonprofit programs can participate in the CACFP independently or through a sponsor. For-profit programs typically participate in CACFP by contracting directly with the state, but a certain percentage of their participants must meet certain income criteria in order to be eligible to operate CACFP and receive reimbursement. Most center programs can be reimbursed for up to 2 meals and 1 snack per child per day. If you're running an after-school program in a low-income area, you may be eligible to operate the CACFP at-risk after-school program. These programs may be licensed or meet certain health and safety standards. They only operate outside of normal school hours, but cannot operate during the summer months when school is not in session. They provide educational and/or enrichment activities and are technically open to all kids age 18 and under. In order for your center to qualify for this specific CACFP program, you do need to qualify by local school data, but we at the state can assist programs with determining eligibility. In this program, you can only be reimbursed for up to 1 meal and 1 snack per child per day, but you do receive the highest rate of reimbursement for all meals and snacks served. If your after-school program is not located in a low-income area, you have another option for participating in the CACFP, which is called the Outside School Hours Care Program. These programs must be licensed or can meet certain health and safety standards, depending on the ages of the kids served. They also operate outside of normal school hours, but these programs can operate during the summer months. And they provide regularly scheduled childcare services. This program can serve up to 2 meals and 1 snack per child per day, and meals and snacks served are reimbursed at different rates depending on the household income of each family. As I mentioned earlier, Farm to ECE is a perfect fit with CACFP because the two programs share the really important common goals of increasing access to nutritious foods and promoting lifelong healthy eating. In Farm to ECE activities, you're connecting kids to the foods they eat, how food is grown, and how to make healthy food choices, some of the same goals as the CACFP. I think it's important to mention that you will not receive any extra reimbursement money from CACFP for participating in Farm to ECE activities. When you participate in CACFP, you only receive money for the nutritious meals and snacks that you serve. However, the extra money that you do receive for serving healthy meals and snacks will definitely help your budget and could help you afford to purchase more local foods or materials to help you with your Farm to ECE activities. In addition, if you become a CACFP operator, you'll gain access to additional Farm to ECE opportunities and resources, such as menu and recipe ideas, the Maine Harvest of the Month program, special culinary trainings, and special funding opportunities like the Free Fish Project that my team member will be talking about a little later today. For those of you who already operate the CACFP or hope to operate CACFP in the future, when it comes to buying food and supplies for your Farm to ECE activities, there are different purchasing rules for different program operators. Remember that I said that some programs contract directly with us at the state to operate CACFP, but others operate CACFP through a sponsor. If you contract directly with us at the state to participate in the CACFP, then you do have to follow federal procurement requirements. This applies to independent centers and sponsoring organizations. These programs will need to save their receipts for CACFP allowable food and non-food purchases and keep them on file with their other CACFP records. These receipts don't get submitted to the state. However, they must be kept on file with other program documentation so that state staff can look at them when we do a program audit, which is usually about once every 3 years. If you do not contract directly with the state to participate in the CACFP, then you do not have to follow federal procurement requirements. This applies to facilities under a sponsor and daycare home providers. Daycare home providers do not have to follow federal procurement rules. They have a lot more flexibility. So if you're a daycare home provider operating CACFP, you don't have to follow as many rules regarding purchasing supplies for your CACFP. As a daycare home provider, you are not required to save your receipts for CACFP purchases, and you are not required to track CACFP funds as closely as other types of programs. There is one rule for purchasing that does apply to everyone that participates in the CACFP, and that is spreading the wealth. Spreading the wealth means that USDA would like you to shop at as many different vendors as possible in order to spread this USDA funding around your communities so that it benefits as many people as possible. So, for example, if a center or provider lives in a town that has 2 grocery stores, USDA would like you to shop at both stores, unless you can document a reason why one store is not a viable option or why one store is the preferred option. With this in mind, you should try to buy your local foods and farm to ECE supplies at different vendors whenever possible. If you participate in the CACFP, you can use your CACFP reimbursement funds to purchase local foods from farmers, farm stands, farmers markets, grocery stores, food cooperatives, community-supported agriculture, and food distributors. There are no limits to what local foods you can purchase with your CACFP funds, as long as they are food items that meet CACFP meal pattern requirements. You can also use your CACFP reimbursement funds to purchase garden inputs to grow your own foods such as seeds, fertilizer, watering cans, tools, etc. As long as the produce that you grow in your garden will be used as part of CACFP reimbursable meals and snacks or for nutrition education activities. If you are a CACFP program that does need to follow federal procurement rules, then you just need to keep receipts for these kinds of purchases on file with your other CACFP records. If you are a daycare home provider or other CACFP program that does not have to follow federal purchasing rules, then you don't have to worry about keeping these receipts for CACFP. Do remember that CACFP is a meal reimbursement program, so you receive reimbursement for the number of meals and snacks you serve. You will not receive any additional reimbursement money for farm to ECE expenses. However, the extra money you receive could be enough to help you purchase tasty local foods to serve on your childcare menus, or supplies to start some fun farm to ECE activities, like your own garden. CACFP reimbursement money is supplemental, so it most likely won't cover all of your food program expenses. But the additional money that you receive may be enough to help your childcare start growing your own farm to ECE program. I think it's important to remember that you don't have to spend a great deal of money. You can start small. For example, try starting with container gardening or a few small raised beds, which may be easier for younger children to access and may help keep small feet from accidentally stepping on seedlings and plants. Not only can you use your CACFP reimbursement money to purchase garden supplies, you can also use your own garden-grown produce in your CACFP reimbursable meals and snacks. If you are a CACFP program that does need to follow federal procurement rules, just make sure to document the types and amounts of foods used, the date the foods were used, and the approximate value of the foods, and keep that documentation on file with your CACFP records. You don't need to submit these receipts to the state, just keep them on file with your other CACFP records for us to review when we audit your program. However, if you're a daycare home provider or other type of program that does not need to follow purchasing rules, then you do not have to maintain these receipts. There are no requirements that you must purchase all of the food used in your CACFP with reimbursement funds. In fact, many programs not only spend all of their reimbursement money on food, they also spend additional money on food. So that means that you can use donated foods as part of your CACFP reimbursable meals and snacks. If you are a program that needs to follow federal procurement rules, just make sure to document the types and amounts of donated foods, the date of the donation, and the approximate value of the donated foods, and keep that documentation on file with your other CACFP records. Just like with garden-grown produce, you don't need to submit receipts to the state. You'll simply keep them on file for us to review when we audit your program. But again, if you're a daycare home provider or other program that does not have to follow federal procurement rules, then you are not required to keep this documentation on file for CACFP. If you've got a green thumb and find yourself with a surplus of garden-grown veggies, you can sell or donate your excess produce. If you're a CACFP program that is required to follow federal procurement rules, you should first see if the excess food can be used to benefit another child nutrition program, such as the summer food service program or the school lunch program in your area. If that is not possible, the excess food may be sold or donated, but you do need to make sure that you follow state and local health and safety regulations. For CACFP programs that do need to follow federal procurement rules, any money that you receive from the sale of your garden veggies would need to be put back into your nonprofit food service account. But if you do not have to follow federal purchasing rules, like daycare home providers, then you don't need to worry about where the profits are deposited. When it comes to adding local foods to your CACFP menus, first check to see if you're already serving local products and maybe don't even know it. For example, where is your milk coming from? We do have local dairies right in Maine, so you could already be serving local milk. Check to see where you can easily replace something that you already have on your menu with a local product. For example, commonly menued items like carrot sticks, cucumbers, and apple slices can be easily replaced with local produce when it's available. Try to take advantage of seasonal items because they're often sold at much better prices. Also consider different ways of preparing and cooking foods. For example, roasting vegetables brings out naturally sweet and savory flavors. My kids thought that they didn't like cauliflower until I roasted some in the oven, and now they love it. Sometimes just cutting fresh vegetables in a new way can increase excitement and acceptance, such as crinkle cutting fresh veggies and serving them with a healthy dip. There really are a lot of different, easy, lower cost ways to incorporate local foods into your menus. On the screen, here are some really great resources for making CACFP cycle menus, new recipe ideas. There are multicultural recipe ideas, culinary tips, food safety information, and much, much more. Taste tests are a great way to increase excitement around and acceptance of new food items before adding them to your menu, and can also help reduce food waste. Taste testing is a great way to introduce kids to the smell, texture, and flavor of a new food in a non-intimidating way. The Institute of Child Nutrition website that's listed in the last slide has some really great information, resources, and tips for starting taste tests in your program. Maine's Harvest of the Month program is another way to build excitement and fun around serving local foods. The program provides really beautiful, colorful posters, stickers, and information about different foods grown right here in Maine that you can use to promote local foods in your program. Adding a nutrition education piece when you introduce new foods can also help increase acceptance and build excitement. USDA has an entire garden-themed nutrition education kit called Grow It, Try It, Like It, which introduces kids to 3 fruits and 3 vegetables. The kit includes hands-on activities, planting activities, and nutrition education activities. Simply incorporating reading a special book when introducing new foods can also help build excitement and increase acceptance, and can be done for kids of all ages. For additional national information and resources about Farm to ECE and CACFP, you can visit USDA's Farm to CACFP webpage. For additional state resources for Farm to ECE, please visit our Maine Harvest of the Month program and our Maine Farm and Seed to School program web pages. The Harvest of the Month program was recently opened to CACFP operators and is a campaign that helps promote the use of seasonally available local products. The program highlights a different Maine product each month. When you sign the pledge form and agree to serve the local product, you receive those colorful posters and stickers I mentioned, which highlight the item of the month. You'll also receive recipes, training, and technical support in using the local products, a monthly newsletter, and the recognition of participating in the program. Our Maine Farm and Seed to School page also has really great culinary and farm videos, as well as recipes for using local products. For more information on the CACFP, please visit our Maine CACFP website located at the address on the screen. You'll find lots of different program information here, including meal pattern information for different age groups, rules for participation, reimbursement rates, links to upcoming trainings, and more. If you'd like to participate in the CACFP, or you'd just like some more information about the information that I presented today, please contact me at the phone number and email address above. Thank you so much for your time and for your interest in Farm to ECE. I'm looking forward to hearing about the wonderful Farm to ECE activities you start at your childcare programs.